Welcome back then to Trackrod Rally Yorkshire, the penultimate round, round 7 of the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series. This is the final stage of the day. This is Langdale, and it is always a sting in the tail, or it certainly was last year. Just over 10 miles the distance, and we've got a square right here, which it has an almighty fast approach. You may remember last year's action down here saw a number of crews going wide, plenty of action and some spectacular angles. We've already had Andrew Appley, the course car driver, through here, almost throwing the course car off. Such is the challenge of getting the car stopped, getting it round this right-hander. So we'll be looking forward to that. But what of the leaderboard? Well, as far as the title fights go, let's try and give you something of a rundown of those. If you're following the British Historic Rally Championship, the big news earlier was that Mark Higgins and Carl Williamson retired with 2 punctures on the TR7 V8. Seb Perez, therefore, has the upper hand as far as the championship is concerned. Look at that. Kurt Hodgson, Sam Campbell, doing exactly what I told you. Nice and sideways here in Langdale. As far as the title fight for the BTRDA Gold Star is concerned, Matthew Hurst, Declan Deer, don't need to worry about that, having had a bit of a tumultuous season as far as the luck, shall we say, and reliability on the car is concerned. But now they're in that Skoda Fabia Rally 2. Things are looking a bit late for a championship campaign, but they are proving a point. They are 10.5 seconds ahead of Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh. And that is where the championship story begins here. But will it end here? Russ Thompson, Stephen Link need to finish second or higher in the BTRDA points scoring crews and ahead of Elliot and Patrick to avoid them taking any more advantage from their current lowest scores of the 6 that they've scored so far this season. As things currently stand, I think that would mean Elliot becomes the 3-time BTRDA Gold Star champion that he comes here to do. Tom Riordan, Graham Ride back here on the Yorkshire forests after their last time out in a sunbeam in 1986 on this rally, which was then known as the Quip Forest Rally. They've been going well today. So that championship fight at the moment has 21.4 seconds in it. Russ Thompson, Stephen Link need a big push, and they're possibly with 1 stage to go here. 10 miles of Langdale need a problem for Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh. In fact, most probably they do need that in order for that championship story to turn around here. Daniel Skardersen, Asta Sigurdardottir in 4th place in their Polo R5. Still another remarkable performance from Russ and Stephen in that V13 Evo. Alan Kitson, John Roberts then will be looking for a top 10 in category 2 here on the overall leaderboard, no doubt, having come 13th on Trackrod Rally Yorkshire last year. The York pair enjoy these stages, and that is some car, let me tell you. Beautifully prepared. What of the Silver Star battle then? The other, or the second of the championship title fights that we have here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. Well, Nick Dobson has dropped back behind Andy Davison and Tom Murphy, who now lead the way, and they need to as well. In order to take the fight to Steve Ward. Davison with the upper hand here so far. Lewis Hooper, Rhys Edwards need to be doing more about that 5th place in Silver Star at the moment as well. 1.6 behind Lee Ashbury and Ian Jones. And they've got Will Graham and Nick Dobson up the road before Andy Davison, which is where their sights will be set. Porsche 911, the Tuttle car of Thomas Bell and Ryan Champion. Sorry, I was just working out some of the permutations here. Swapping Rally Raid for the special stages here in the Protyre BTRDA this season. Joined us on a number of rounds, Nicky Grist. He was third in the Bowler Land Rover Challenge in the newer of the Land Rover Defender rally cars. Was Thomas Bell. Ryan Champion alongside, as I mentioned earlier, if you joined us for stage 3. Well, I don't know if you guessed a Escort Cosworth. Last time he co-drove on these stages was for Julian Porter, current WRC stage end presenter in an Escort Cosworth in 1996 here on the Trackrod. I'm just wondering, you know, if Steve Ward, just give me a second to gather my thoughts. No, of course, we're falling foul now of this ridiculous situation we have with the different leaderboards and different rallies, aren't we? So Steve Ward will appear on the other leaderboard. Excuse me while I do a bit of quick maths. As you see, Neil Commons and Bob Draper looking for a finish here to put those demons to rest that they had last year. Martin Pearson, Charlotte McGlashan. Charlotte enjoying her first gravel rally, co-driving in that Sunbeam, and looked to be having fun earlier on through stage 3. It is, I'm afraid, impossible to do quick maths because you've got the stage from last night to take into account as well with Steve Ward. But in terms of that Silver Star battle, he is there or thereabouts with Andy Davison and Tom Murphy. It's Lewis Hooper and Rhys Edwards who have slipped a little bit behind in that battle today, but there is only 6.6 seconds between them and the podium positions. The last of those at the moment taken by Will Graham. There's Mark Simpson and Julian Floyd. A reminder that this coverage tells the story of the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series. However, we will bring you action from all of the crews and a roundup of the leaderboards as well, and the other championships that are joining us. So you get a full flavour of the action here at Trackrod Rally Yorkshire. The Mini Rally Challenge then finished up. Mark Jones took the victory today in the R53 car. Rob Fisher, Charlotte Wainwright, their first time in the Mini Rally Challenge car, switching from the DS3 R3. Second place, a good performance from them. Julian Fouquet, Juliet Perry in the R50 car in third place. Then it's Wes Guilford, Andrew Millington, and Kevin Ablett, Graham Child. So Julian taking the R50 win today. Mark Jones with the R53. Guy Butler, Jacob Neal both ending their rally by the side of the stage in Staindale. There's Giles Armitage and Josh Rhodes. So these results after stage 4, the most complete set of results we have, because times for stage 5 are still coming in. Interestingly, Richard Hill, Steve Bannister, Richard Jordan was your top 3 in Staindale. David Henderson 4th in the British Historic, showing that he's getting on song pretty quickly with that Mark II, switching from the Rally 2 car from last season. But overall, Dan Mennell is doing the business out in front. Matthew Robinson in second place. It's a 3-second gap as well. Just less than the 3-second gap. As you see, Will Armitage, Jeremy Pole, A reminder that with a big push today, they could get as high as 7th in the Silver Star standings. They need a big push on this and the final round, the Cambrian, in a few weeks' time. They're currently 10 points behind Nick Dobson in B11. Ben Friend then third in the historics at this point overall. Then it's Paul Thompson and local Yorkshire Rally Mafia hero Steve Bannister in 5th place. Still knows how to do the business, doesn't he? Seb Perez, the pressure is off as far as the championship is concerned. For now, down in 7th, not taking too many risks. And with that TR7 sidelined for this round, I'm not sure, because my head has not been in the historic championship, but could that be decisive? Still 2 point scoring rounds to go at the end of the season with the Anglo-Caledonian, don't forget. Nice scenes there on the push box of Ian Jemison. If you just tuned in, this is live coverage here on special stage of the penultimate round of the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series. It is Trackrod Rally Yorkshire, and as you can see, we are finishing off with the formidable Langdale stage. Just over 10 mile blast through this iconic bit of forestry. One of my favourite places in the world. There's Roger Nevitt and Graham Wild. Another pair looking for a finish here on the Yorkshire stages after a DNF was chalked up in 2023. The weather has been near on perfect for this time of year as producer Wayne just puts his jacket on to prove me wrong. Lovely and sunny. The wind just picking up here, but we've got a fair bit of tree felling in this area of Langdale. But it was extremely warm and dusty. Gale Rig earlier, and there's been the same story pretty much all day, despite having to, some of us, scrape our ice off our windscreens this morning to start the day. My day started at 5 AM. When did yours start? Hopefully, if you've any sense about you, it would have started at 10 to 10 when our coverage started this morning. Ian Hildreth, Sarah Wetton, waving to the local fans in that Motorscope Mark II. Nicely done as well. We will see a bit of action here. As I say, we saw the course car almost go off the road here. Andrew Appley, professional course car driver these days, nearly throwing it off here in the last stage of the day. That would have added a bit of intrigue and jeopardy, wouldn't it, to the final stage of the day? Not something we want to see, I might add. So time's still coming in for Dalby for some of our crew, so the times we'll talk about here will be from here in, from Staindale, before the crew's headed to this higher, further north part of the route. There's John Day, Paul Stringer, one of the mini rally challenge crews, but opting to do the full event here today and looking to put the role that they had on the very first stage through Dalby out of their mind from last year, of course. So out in front in the Protyre BTRDA Gold Star Championship, Matthew Hurst, Declan Deere lead the way from Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh. Is a 10.5 second gap. And it's a further 21.4 seconds back to Russ Thompson and Stephen Link, and that is crucial. They've got stage 5, Dalby, and stage 6, Langdale, to change that around and to remind you they need to do just that. Russ Thompson and Stephen Link need to finish second or higher, and they have to make sure that Elliot and Patrick don't gain an advantage on them out in front. At the moment, that second place from them will see them edge a bit further, because it will add some points to their lowest 2-point scoring rounds. Jack Birch, Mike Jode, another of the Mini Rally Challenge crews, opting to do the full event here at the final, not the final round, it's not even the penultimate round for the Mini Rally Challenge. They've got a single venue to go before they join us once again for the Cambrian in a few weeks' time for their final round. But Jack Birch, Mike Jode opting to do the full event. All about seat time for the young man, stepping up from the juniors to the Mini Rally Challenge, and was 5th Mini Rally Challenge competitor on Kielder earlier this year. Some great performances on Kielder particularly, and the Manx as well, from our Mini Rally Challenge crews. To remind you, they did the stage in Dalby last night, and then the first 3 stages this morning, so they finished with Gail Riggs. So it was Gail Riggs, sorry, Guy Butler and Jacob Neal went off, not Staindale. Here's Colin Blunt, Mark Blunt in the Fiesta ST150. You'd be pleased to know as well that the times eventually did catch up for Ashley Francis Adams. Nige and Kaz Jenkins and Ashley Francis Adams and Mark Ammons come here tied on points. As far as the tie break is concerned, it would be Nige and Kaz Jenkins at that. But today's result will be crucial, because if Ashley Francis Adams and Mark Ammons can overhaul that lead of 26.3 seconds that the NJ Auto Repairs Nova has out in front in the Fuchs Lubricants category, Bronze Star category, sorry, they will take the Bronze Star category to the final round. Meanwhile, despite that battle for the Silver Star not being decisive for Lewis Hooper, Rhys Edwards, today they will take the R2 Rally Cup. If they finish today, so perhaps that finish is what they're looking for. The Silver Star will be, well, being in the battle for the Silver Star will be a bonus. There's Rob Evett. Michael Evett. Sixth at the moment in the overall Bronze Star. And the only 1400C runners at this point on Trackrod Rally Yorkshire. Remember, we want to get you involved with our coverage this year, and so do our special stage merchandise and clothing partner, Rallying is Life. So all you've got to do is comment on one of the live streams, whether you're watching on YouTube, on Facebook at specialstage.tv. Just tune in and drop a comment. Tell us what you're doing, where you're watching from, and you're in the draw. That's a nice line, isn't it? And Stockdale Alec Lunt, Castrol liveried Mark II, giving us a very nice 3/4 angle, which is exactly what we wanted from this location. Hello to Julia Perry, who will no doubt be chuffed with her result in the Mini Rally Challenge, the first R50 car home, the normally aspirated Mini Cooper class of cars, alongside Julian Fouquet, who, by the way, I did check, is not related to the Julian Fouquet that you may remember from the BTRDA in the four-wheel drive Citroën Saxo from 10, 12 years ago. Bjorn Jensen watching from Norway. Julian and Julia were also third overall in the Mini Rally Challenge this weekend. Great result for them, and a nice little bit of promotional exposure at the start of the rally at the NY500 this morning with Ring Automotive, the local company supplying spotlights and car accessories, celebrating their 50th year and bringing out a Lego mini rally car to celebrate. And we had some fun with that with the Mini Rally Challenge guys at the start at NY500 this morning. You can see that if you go to the Ring Automotive Facebook page. I posted a photo on mine as well, because you know what? We need to shine a light to what I did there on new sponsors in our sport, and those that continue to support as well. We're very grateful to all of you. Fuchs Lubricants, REIS Motorsport Insurance, Protyre, of course, among others, with their name above the door here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series, meaning we can bring you excellent action. There's Christina Robinson, Grum Wilcock to prove the point. Even time for a quick wave to the fans. Hello to Michelle Petrie, Michael Lawson, Philippa Roberts, Simon Mellings. Simon's actually watching from Makrigelos. Did I say that right? On the beach in Crete, in Greece. It's a very sunny, hot day. Well, it's very sunny and hot here in Yorkshire as well, so no. Doug Riddle, watching from Scotland. You'll enjoy the Scottish flag in the front of our shot. I don't know if you can just about see that, can't you? Kenneth Orr's watching from Scotland. Jock Dean also, I don't know why I said that in a Scottish accent, if you'll forgive that as a Scottish accent. Dave Mathewson enjoying the coverage, watching from Langdale. We're watching from Langdale as well. In fact, you guys at Mathewson's joined us on this corner last year, didn't you, to watch? Jack Mathewson has been going ever so well today, in and around the back end of the top 10 in the historics from the off here at Trackrod Rally Yorkshire, having only started his rally adventure on the Malton Forest stages last year. The Mathewsons, of course, the Bangers and Cash family, famous TV show in these parts. In fact, we passed the museum in Thorntonley Dale that I used to visit as a kid. Sadly, no longer a museum. I miss going around that, and I'd like to, hopefully it'll be a museum one day again and I can take my kids around. But they've certainly made their mark on motoring, and now Jack is making his mark, isn't he, on forest rallying here on the Protyre BTRDA rounds that we see him in. Just looking at the times for the last days through, I don't know if we've maybe got a few times that are not coming through in time, or in such a timely fashion, but we are missing a few who I would expect to see on the entry. Hilariously, Doug Riddle is actually watching the coverage with us and has got that flag out. I missed that little nugget there. Thank you, producer Wayne. Craig North is, what is he doing? He's washing all of the something off the car from Dolby and Cropton and tuning into the coverage. Why not, eh? Owen Pritchard watching before going off to Marshall the Rally Merion later on. Where's that? Naomi Wilding's watching from Shropshire, enjoying the coverage. And Colin Jenkins watching from Dave Jenkins Motorsport in the office. Hope you're getting plenty of work done, mate. That's not what Saturdays are for, though, is it? Richard Jessup watching from the Forest of Dean, enjoying that. Dave Mathewson about half a mile down the road from us, getting the heads up on what's coming up. Well, I reckon if I know and have seen Jack Mathewson's style by now, you'll get a fair few angles as a heads up. You'll get a good look at each corner of that car as he comes around this square right. On his way to you. Max Crowther, Phil Brammer from Pickering and York respectively. Lots of local crews out as always here on Trackrod Rally Yorkshire. A bit of a dream actually for Yorkshire folk to do this rally. I would love to do this rally one day. But standing here telling the story is just fine by me. Grew up with my parents having my grandparents having a second home on the Bickley Forest stage, just near the Moorcock Inn, which we passed on the way up here. So I used to walk out the door and head over to watch the cars. I don't remember the Group B days, but as a child I was here watching Michel Mouton, Tony Pond and all the rest of them through these stages. What heady days they must have been. Plenty of crews on the entry who have been on an entry list and indeed been fighting on a leaderboard with some of those names as well here this weekend. And you're going to see from some of them with an all-star cast through this final stage of the day. If you're just tuning in, this is the final stage of Trackrod Rally Yorkshire. It is Langdale, and it's a shade over 10 miles. Real sting in the tail. But of course, our competitors will be hoping that is not the case. We have championship fights going on in the Gold Star, the Silver Star, and the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star category at the moment. The Gold Star and the Bronze Star look like being fairly decisive come the end of this 7th round of the series. But we could still have a twist in those tails, taking us to a final round showdown in Llandudno for the Cambrian in a few weeks' time. 28th of October, same day of as the Kilwendeg Road Rally, an event I promised myself I will get to for years, and this year I'm finally doing it. I've got my accommodation sorted. I'm going to head straight over from the Cambrian and do an all-nighter. Pretend that I'm in my 20s again. Hello to Bill Bates. Neil Roskell as well, one of our Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship protagonists. Worthy runner-up in the series once again this season in that exciting battle down to the final round with Callum Black joining us for a bit of gravel action here. Still got some gravel action of his own to go in his rally season. David Cram's watching from sunny Leicestershire. Really does look good, doesn't it? David Coatsworth, Super 1600 MGZR, Chris Patterson alongside. We passed them on the road section as we were heading to this stage. It was a hell of a road section for us as well, actually, and we got here just in the nick of time. The timings on this event are always really close because of the way the stages are run and how they're packed together and how many cars there are on the entry. So we had to hot foot it across here, and literally as the first car was coming into the stage, we got everything set up. So a bit of a rush job from us, but we share the road section with a number of the cars on this event, which is nice. So we end up following rally cars in traffic, and it's one of the highlights of the sport for me, is seeing everyday road traffic and then a rally car dotted in between every third or fourth car. The rumble of rally exhaust and the whine of straight cut gears through town on the way to the next stage. People looking and gawping at these cars covered in mud with numbers on the door and big mud flaps flapping. As a kid, that was something that just captured my imagination so royally. Hence where we are today. Anyway, if you just, that was a bit poetic, wasn't it? I just went off into a little wistful world of my own. I'll be doing that again at the Motorist, by the way, on the 12th of October. Make sure you're there for our Rally Legends Day. Pete Smith, Tony Saddington, Jeremy Matthew, Alan Hill, all joining us for a panel of motoring news road rally competitors, and we're going to tell some stories from the lanes that night. There's a rally car meet during the day, which is free, and we'd love to see some rally cars down there. Charlie Mathewson, junior rally champion, and Jack Mathewson indeed, as well as the main man Derek joined us at the last one. Hopefully you can join us on the 12th of October. Tickets are £15 for the evening do. The Yorkshire Rally Mafia boss, rally author Jonathan Pullin JP is joining me to host the event. As you see, our B10 champion, the Tuts Clump proper cider pair, Michael Jenkins, Jordan Joins in the R2 Fiesta. On for a big result this season. Not only B10 champions from the last round, crowned, also coming here 4th in Silver Star, 11th in Gold Star. Hello to Paula Evatt, who's watching from home. Just sent a website inquiry to us. Mum to Joe Evatt and Michael Evatt, wife to Rob. She's recovering from home after her op, so we wish you all the best, Paula, and hopefully you're enjoying the action. Getting to see the boys on our live show is better than not seeing them at all. Doug Ramsey's watching from a train heading from London to Yorkshire. There's a steam train coming into the, what's the old historic station. There was an Austin A35 van outside as well with British Railways on the side. Looked glorious. What was that station? I can't remember. It's just above Pickering now, isn't it? The classic station. But it was nice sight seeing the... I thought that all those people were gathered to see the rally cars driving through town. It's ready to give them a royal wave, but no, they weren't. They were gathered to watch the steam train come in, and so they should. It looked ace. Phil Clark looking out for daughter Emma Clark, co-driving. He's 200 metres down the road from Naomi Wilding in Shropshire. Jim McBain, Roy Hatfield joining us as well. And as promised, I always get told off for not joining you on the YouTube stream as well, so I will do so if I can get it working. At least I can't blame cold hands today. The weather's been lovely, proper Yorkshire September summertime, and mark my words, if you're up in my neck of the woods today for this rally, there'll be a glorious sunset on the way home, and if you've got time to pop out towards Ravenscar and Whitby, you'll see the best of it. Mark my words. If you're not and you're headed back, you'll have a treat. The skies will be on fire tonight, I reckon. It's an event I really look forward to, this one, each year. I have since I've been a kid. Any Yorkshire rally is fine by me, but the Trackrod just seems to evoke some fantastic battles and always seems to have the edge, doesn't it? It's been an international plenty of times over the years as well. And talking of internationals, if rally cars are your thing, if that's what brings you here, and you've got time to spare and you're within reasonable travelling distance of Telford, next weekend the Historic Rally Festival is on the 5th and 6th of October and will feature iconic rally cars. And I know that I'm very bad at overusing the word iconic, as many of us are in this game, but genuinely iconic rally cars from the Group B, Group A, the early WRC, and all manner of other eras and categories of the sport doing... I'm not going to say doing battle, because that's wrong, they're not. It's a demonstration event, but it's run to Motorsport UK regs, and the cars are really put through their paces. Believe me, I know. I went in Dan Elmore's 6R4 in the last one. But you've got some really cool cars, some X-Works Group B cars and all sorts, including Dave Kedwood's beautiful red Martini Lancia 037, the last two-wheel drive car, of course, to win the World Rally Championship. Not that particular one, but the 037. And two new stately home venues as well, the Appley and Willey Estates, who have really got behind the event and have put a lot of investment into the stages, so a real spectacle if you do fancy getting to that. And the best bit is the kids go free, because like us, the team at Rallying History understand that the next generation and the generation after that are the future of our sport. So 15 quid a ticket, kids go free, historicrallyfestival.com. Plenty more action coming up from us in the next few weeks in terms of live coverage as well. We've got the final round of the Pirelli Welsh Rally Championship coming up with Phil Bramwell. That will be here. That'll be from the Wydene Stages Rally. When's that, producer Wayne? 16th of November, yeah. So October, November, still looking busy. And then the Anglo-Caledonian, the cut-down route from the Roger Albert Clark. We've been confirmed as covering that, which I'm really excited about. Thank you to Colin Heppenstall for continuing to have faith in us to bring his events to life after the Roger Albert Clark rally last year. I'm sure, like me, you'll be looking forward to seeing what the Anglo-Caledonian, a two-day version of it, can cook up this year. Everyone looking forward to that. And it is a point-scoring round, 2 point-scoring rounds, in fact, of the British Historic Rally Championship. So that'll be a lot of fun. Still loads to go, and we've just confirmed extended coverage of the Circuit Rally Championship as well. So there'll be no winter blues if you're a rally fan, if you make sure you stay tuned to specialstage.tv. We've also got some special features coming up as well, including Mike Broad. And when I say features, we're talking honest, frank, at times perhaps a little painful stories. Mike Broad, Phil Collins, Richard Goff, already shot and in edit. And we've got some more on the way as well. You can find all those at specialstage.tv when they come out, as well as our special stage rally show in association with the Mini Rally Challenge, which features highlight shows from the various championships and events that we cover, and includes from time to time a look at the British Cross Country Championship. And cross country racing, which is very similar, more similar than you'd think actually to rallying, and there's a lot of the innovation that we've lost with the K37 rules in rallying, which is understandable. You can see the viewpoint from Motorsport UK's point of view, but they still exist, these homemade concoctions with high screaming engines. Think Peugeot Cosworth style creations. You've got Group B-ish cars out competing, RS200s, Metro 6R4s, not quite, but they are based on the Group B cars, and it's always a spectacle, as is a sunbeam sideways into a Yorkshire forest. Ray Barnes, Ula Budniska, just clumping the bank. If you're going to go up the side of a bank, you don't want to be going face onto the wheels like that. Luckily, the suspension and brake assemblies seem to be in good nick on that sunbeam, and it survived to tell the tale. Apologies for the little gap in the action there. It happens. You can see that on that sunbeam there was some damage to the front valance. I'm not sure where they've been off, but they've perhaps clumped one or two more banks on their way to this final stage of the day, Langdale. If you want to follow the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series, the results are at btrdarallyresults.co.uk. The time's coming through for the fifth stage now. Still not quite complete enough for me to give you a full selection. Ashley Francis Adams, who does now appear on the results, you'll be pleased to know, after the frustration earlier, has just posted his time through there. Is it going to be fast enough to take any time out of that bright green NJ Auto Repairs Nova out in front, though? It's crucial for the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star category title, that is. I'm sure Nigel and Kaz would quite like to round things off here in Yorkshire this weekend, but we'd quite like to see a battle going right down to the final round at the Cambrian in a few weeks' time, wouldn't we? So let's see how that one ends up. Just waiting for their time to drop through from Dolby, Nigel and Kaz Jenkins. Gareth Humphries, Adam Burkill, who lead the R53 class on the Mini Rally Challenge. Third in the Tarmac Series in the Challenge, and opting to do the full event here, Trackrod Rally Yorkshire. Ah, that's gutting to see, and even more gutting to hear. A very rattly sounding Sierra Cosworth of Glyn Lyons and Joseph Patterson. They won the B12 class here last year's Trackrod Rally Yorkshire as well. Tom Hind and Sue Hind in the Mini Rally Challenge car. These guys won't feature on the Mini Rally Challenge results because they're doing the full event. It's complicated, this. So the results that I gave you earlier are of the cars that appear on the Mini Rally Challenge leaderboard. I'm only just realising that now, but again, this frustration of having three different leaderboards that have intertwined competitors that don't appear on certain leaderboards, do appear on others, and it's like the Silver Star battle, because Steve Ward did the stage last night. He appears on the historic leaderboard, so we won't be able to work his times out very quickly to see how that Silver Star battle is going. I'm relying on Neil Cross, if you're listening, I'm relying on you to do the maths for me back at HQ, mate, or wherever you are, chairman of the BTRDA. But yeah, very frustrating. We need to be better at this. I know we have different rallies going on, but why not have one leaderboard and be able to pick out the championship battles you want from that? Why do we have to? I know that different permits, but why do we have to have different leaderboards? Why? I keep asking it. It's hard to follow, it's hard to tell the story, and it's hard to get new fans into the sport if we don't make it easy and accessible. Not putting my soapbox away on this one just yet. So, Sue and Tom Hind come here first, that said, in the gravel challenge, in the mini rally challenge, 7th in the R53. And Julia Perry will work her magic on the social media for the mini rally challenge, and you'll be able to see the leaderboard updated on their Facebook page very shortly, I am sure. I expect a message to drop through from Julia now, confirming things. No pressure, Julia. If you saw the stage earlier, or you've had a look at the entry list here for Trackrod Rally Yorkshire, you'll know we've got loads of variety for you. So if you're a rally fan, you're tuned in, looking forward to seeing lots of different things. There's often a criticism that rallying's just full of escorts, and it couldn't be more wrong. There's nothing quite like a Mark II escort at all angles in a forest. But you know what? There's a ton of variety out here as well as the escorts. The escort's still very much the car to beat in many respects, although Seb Perez and Mark Higgins doing a good job of turning the tables a little bit in the British Historic Rally Championship, at least this year, aren't they? And the variety in the Silver Star as well here in the Protyre BTRDA, regularly seeing R2 Fiestas, Vauxhall Chevettes, Ben Jemison, Lewis Hooper. I'm talking about fighting with the escorts, BMW 3 Series. You know, we've got a real sweet spot at the moment in terms of variety, and you only had to look at last time out on the Ashfeld Championship, last bit of live coverage we did when we had the 2 Volvo 244s, not just 1, 2 of them in the historics. Hopefully the proposed changes to the Motorsport UK class structure will just aid and abet a bit of that as well. We might see a few more Group A, maybe even some Formula 2. In fact, I know of at least 2 Formula 2 cars that are coming out to do battle, proper ones as well, if the rallies seem to gather momentum and get the entries to make it worthwhile. So watch this space, but we're all hoping for this, what I've called a renaissance, to continue, aren't we? Oh, there we go. That bank's going to take some remodelling, isn't it? Rob Rook, Miles Cartwright. Really good to see those guys out. It's been a bit of a personal battle for Rob, and it's a bit of a victory for him, his family and his friends as well, to be back out here on these local stages. And that escort twin cam. Rob, a farmer from Market Wheaton. Miles lives Staxton near Scarborough, not far from here. Miles was in with Jack Matthewson last year on the Trackrod. Times dropping through then for Dolby Stage 5. Still haven't given us Nigel and Kaz Jenkins. Or have they? No, not yet. So Ashley Francis Adams still showing as leading the Bronze Star category. Just wait for that green Nova to post its time at the end of the stage. Bumper entry this year on Trackrod Rally Yorkshire, giving you a good old feast of rally action for your Saturday wherever you are. Remember to let us know where you're watching from, or predict your top 3. Drop a comment in so that we can put you in the draw to win one of the Rallying is Life Rally TV t-shirts. A reward for getting involved, because like us, Dan Elmore at Rallying is Life wants to get you involved in the coverage this year. Okay, Bethany Yvonne says it's North Yorkshire Moors Railway in Pickering that we passed earlier. Graham Hay, Jonathan Haynes. Jonathan swapping the driver's seat of his Ford Focus. I did say I'd check earlier because I thought Carrie Bates was in the car, but that must have been on an earlier entry list, perhaps Jonathan jumping in with Graham. I said earlier about the Rally Barbados family, and there's another example. Jonathan competed against Graham over in Rally Barbados this year, and there they are competing together. I suppose it's like anything, isn't it? You have an away day and you take a sort of camaraderie with you. Dave Watkins giving us a nice old look at that significant X-Works RS 1600. It wasn't always an RS 1600, it has a BDA in it right now. Driven by Ove Anderson, John Davenport, Anu Mikkola, Gunnar Palm. Currently has Mikkola and Palm on the Team Ford black rectangles on the front wings, but it has previously adorned the Anderson and Davenport livery. Depends which of the cars' works stories Dave wants to tell, as he's hammering that thing around the stages, just getting away with not clumping the bank, but giving us a nice view of that works car. Amazing to think of those sorts of drivers and co-drivers doing this event and being on the, well, these stages, not necessarily this particular event, but being out here in the Yorkshire Forest, isn't it? Mikkola, Clark, Pond, Brooks, Mouton, Aiken, Walker, they've all been here. Peter Hinton, Dean Mitchell in the Escort RS 2000. If you want to follow the British Historic Rally Championship leaderboard, you can do that at results.djames.org.uk. So you'll find the Mini Rally Challenge leaderboard as well, although, like I say, both of those incomplete due to the peculiarities of and complexities of running 3 different rallies with different leaderboards. No, I'm not going to shut up about that one, I'm afraid. Needless complexity that the sport doesn't need. Got a little lad down here blowing the marshal's whistle when the cars come into sight. I love that. Nice and committed like he was earlier, James Brady. Jack Brady alongside. They won their class on last year's Trackrod Rally Yorkshire. Just waiting for the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star times to update. Still no time through. And Kaz Jenkins through Dolby, which, should we be worried about that at this stage? There are a few minutes apart on the entry, but by now I've expected to see a ton dropping through, I think. Not to add any more drama into proceedings, we have enough. Robin Shuttleworth, Malcolm Smithson in the Escort Mexico. Have you got the tracker up, producer Wayne? Let's check if Nigel and Kaz Jenkins have cleared stage 5, because we have no time from them as things stand, and we are keeping an eye on that championship fight for the Bronze Star category, as well as the Silver Star and the Gold Star, which at the moment, like the Bronze Star coming into stage 5, the Dolby stage before this one in Langdale, looked like having a decisive finish to things. The Silver Star, the only one that looks like being kept alive at the moment. Tony Jardine, Ryan Standen, adding to the variety and adding to the angles here in Langdale. A little shake of the head from Tony. Didn't quite intend to get that sideways through there and scrub off that much speed, but it's a nice sight, wasn't it? An Avenger fully broadside. Langdale Forest under blue skies with the promise of a Yorkshire sunset for the drive home. You might say the perfect Saturday. It's not far off. The tracker isn't conclusive. Maybe we have still got the Bronze Star leaders in the stays. Times will confirm for us, won't they? Anybody does have any news from the stage to tell us, it will be useful. Matt Brown, Jenkins just gathering up the second of our Avengers. It's almost visiting one of the ditches, wasn't it? We've had a few of those through the first stage that we covered for you earlier, through Gale Rig. Side that is Terry Cree, Emma Cooper alongside. Complicate things even further. Terry is registered for historic points and Emma is registered for BTRDA points. How have we ended up here? Jake Wilson and Kevin Barden, by the way, have been going well in that Nova today. Looks the part, doesn't it, as well? Ian Evans' Nova on the Hills Forward stages is not in it this weekend. It was a sight to behold, let me tell you. Works delivery, I put some photos of it online. It took us right back to the Dave Metcalf days, that is for sure. First of the courses into the stage. No, it's not, is it? From the sound, that will be Natalie Robinson and Kim Gray in the 208. Remarkable sounding cars, those. 1.2 litre being in the historic class, given that they did the stages last night. Nicely sideways, Chris Watts and Benjamin Watts then in the Fiesta R2. Almost sounds too smooth to be an R2, that, doesn't it? It normally sounds a bit more grunty when they're at low revs, bogging down on square rights like that. Have we got a Nova through the tracker yet? Hello to Chester Gardner, who joins us on this live coverage. Dave Cram confirmed. Oh yeah, Steve Magson is through stage 5, so should get a time through. Hello to Alex Jenkins as well. Dutiful wife waiting at the finish in Filey. Well, a lovely place to be waiting though, right? I gave Michael and Jordan a flash on the way here. Don't look at me like that, Wayne. You know what I mean. But they look like they're in a world of their own, Alex. Obviously, looking forward to seeing you at the finish. Our B10 champions in the Tuts Clump Proper Cider sponsored R2 Fiesta. They must be nearly at the finish by now, aren't they? Still no time for the Nova. Chester Gardner is Sean Gardner's son, the other one. Perry's brother, I'm guessing. I know my family structures me. Okay, Nigel and Kaz Jenkins have got their time in now through stage 5. They're just a little way further up the order on the entry list. So they've grown that advantage. It looks like a title-winning drive from Nigel and Kaz Jenkins in the Nova. I want to confirm that too early, but it was this stage last year when the engine was misfiring and behaving awfully, wasn't it? You're right. And they were forced to go to the final round. So yeah, according to the maths, we do need, for a grandstand finish in the Bronze Star category, for Ashley Francis Adams to finish ahead of the husband and wife duo of Nigel and Kaz Jenkins. And that, pace and merit alone today just isn't going to happen because they are in one of those leagues of their own that we sometimes see. It's Johnny Hepworth and Dave Boyce in the Mark II. The local pair not registered for championship points, but here doing their local round. The Rally Media rally guy watching on YouTube says hello from Dolby, the stage before this one. Hope you're getting plenty of shots in there. There'll be some lovely shots in this sunshine today, I reckon. Some headline shots for the organisers of the Trackrod, I'm sure. Roy Jarvis is just talking about the accident they had last night. They did drive the Escort Mexico back after their crash in the Dolby stage last night to Filey, but it needs a roof and stuff. I'm quoting. Yikes. Not the first time either, is it, guys? But you know what? You'll be back and entertaining us before long, I am sure. Adam Milner, Roy Jarvis. Good to have you on the coverage with us anyway. Gordon Galbraith enjoying watching these cars through in this final stage of the day. As you see, Darren and Sam Kelter. They were just 17.7 seconds behind Will Armitage and Jeremy Pole in the B11 battle coming into this final stage. I'm not sure 17.7 seconds in a shade over 10 miles is much of a battle, though. As much as I like to say it. Oh, we've got a bit of a, oh, almost a bit of a donut from Ernie and Patricia Lee. Just giving the rev limiter hell to make up for his little faux pas there at the junction. Almost looked like he was going to style it out and do a full-on Gilles Panizzi for us, but not quite. Ernie Lee currently 4th today in the Silver Star order. Fair way back from Ben Cree and Bob Wiggins in the Corsa though. Some big gaps opening up in the Silver Star so far, and in fact that is not a complete picture because we're still due some of the front-running Silver Star crews through there, aren't we? There we go. Last dash to the flag. Ashley Francis Adams, Mark Hammonds came here equal on points in the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star category. They know, though, that at the moment it isn't enough. The mission brief was to keep the hard-charging, high-revving Nige Jenkins behind them at the moment. Coming into this stage, it was 31.3 seconds, the gap. And as far as Ashley Francis Adams' championship title hopes are concerned, that is the wrong way around. Limiting the advantage by finishing in front would have taken us to the final round. It will be celebrations as long as, of course, it's a big if, isn't there? We've still got 10 miles of Langdale to do, as long as that Green Nova gets to the end. Hello to Ben Gilbert, of British Rally Media fame, doing some great work this year and having just about as busy a year as we are here at Special Stage. There's to Simon Bevan as well. Trina Dunn as well, joining us, Scrapman Brown. Don't forget, if you comment on the stream, you're into the draw to win one of our Rallying is Life Lombard RAC styled Rally TV t-shirts. Luke Constantine and Sneak Oates in the little 1400 MG3. Said it a few times, really like those. They look like really good fun little rally cars. I had high hopes for seeing quite a few of them out when the MG3 trophy, or the challenge was it, was announced a few years ago, but it hasn't really transpired, has it? They don't seem to be that competitive as a 1400 car in their own right. That said, there are a few of them out today, a couple of them at least. So, battle of the MG3s. To remind you, the two-wheel drive field with the British Historic Rally Championship crews joining the Protyre BTRDA ranks and the local crews here on the Trackrod Rally Yorkshire is through this stage in reverse seeded order. We're heading towards the sharp end of the entry list, and then we go into the four-wheel drives in seeded order as they appear on your entry list. And at the moment, although he's had a more up and down year than the previous two, certainly not as clinical, Elliot Payne looks like doing what he came here to do. It was 21.4 seconds, the gap back to Russ Thompson and Stephen Link. Similar story to the Bronze Star, in that I believe, unless Russ and Stephen finish ahead of Elliot and Patrick, they can't keep that title charge alive. Tom Henman, who celebrates his birthday today, and does it in style as well, nicely sideways through here. Gary Evans alongside. Trackrod was their only rally this season, same with 2023 as well, coming out on their local round. It's a bit of a birthday celebration, and why not? Going into the last Dolby stage of the day then, which is the stage before this one here in Langdale. The Protyre BTRDA leaderboard look like this. Matthew Hurst, Declan Deer, proving a point today. 10.5 seconds ahead of Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh, who haven't let that gap extend in the last couple of stages. So that is where the pace is. Russ Thompson, Stephen Link, 21.4 back. Daniel Sigurdsson, Astra Sigurdsson. Again, a point to prove, but no championship position up for grabs for them. Here is to see Mike Reed and John Millington navigating a stage that they have done many times. And that Reed Group Mark II. They need no introduction either of that pair to Yorkshire Rally fans. Yeah, Daniel Sigurdsson, Asta Sigurdsson in the Volkswagen Polo R5, another crew stepping up to R5 machinery from the B13 Evo they had before. They're in 4th place at the moment. It's an all BTRDA point scoring top 4, which doesn't help Russ Thompson and Stephen Link. Well, nothing will help them if they're not ahead of Elliot and Patrick, of course. It's nicely done, wasn't it? Phil Squires, Mick Squires alongside. They came here 10th overall in the British Historic Rally Championship. We're not following the leaderboard that closely in the historics, but I'll just flick over to give you a feel for that. Equal 34th, overall 5th in D5. Am I looking at the right one? I'm not. Yes, I am. Matthew Stroud, Joel Wharton had a bit of a do in stage 3, didn't they? Chucked it into that square left down the hill. Matthew in his first season of rallying in that Mark II. Okay, that was Matthew Stroud and Joel Wharton, who are still having a do. Yeah, before that would have been John Lowe and Jack Bowen, in which case, doing a bit of admin, switching the old notepad around. Hello to Phil Bramwell, who should be hard at work filming for the special stage rally show. He's tuned in, joining us on here. Brynmore Pierce. Good to see you. Recovering as well, Brynmore. Hopefully have you out here before long. There's Steve Maxson, Steve Bilby. There's a bit of confusion as to whether or not they'd finished the stage in the chat, actually on the live stream, but they did finish the last stage, as you can see. Switching the Mercedes 190E to that glorious rear-wheel drive Astra this season. Paul Scruton says it's great to see so many cars out. It is, isn't it? And as I said earlier, great to see so much variety as well on the entry list. Something that has really characterised the season for us is the variety that we've had. When you look at what we've got going on, Fiat 131s, particularly in the historics, which is, you know, where I suppose the attraction is with bringing something a little varied out to play. If you can develop it and you've got the know-how, just look at the works spec TR7 V8 that we've got out there. Thumping around the stages, not so today after suffering a double puncture at the end of Gale Rig, or at the beginning of Gale Rig, in fact, earlier. Mark Higgins, but look at what David Appleby Engineering have done with that. Look at what RSD have done with the Fiat 131. Look at what Tony Jardine and the likes are doing with the Avengers. And then look at what the likes of Baz Jordan and George Lepley are doing with Group A cars. Not to mention Seb Perez in the Porsche, who looks set to show the Escorts a clean set of heels this year in the championship, doesn't he? 147, Chris Squires, Sean Hughes. Only this and the Rally Nut 7 Valley on their roster of events, so far at least. In 2024, whatever that is on maximum revs coming up here to this square right. That'll take some stopping. I think, is it Bannister? It's not. Tim Piercy. I saw a flash of red and white over the top of the trees up at the top. He and Van Devine will be looking for a finish today, and they've only got a few more miles left of Langdale to achieve that aim after their crash on last year's Trackrod Rally Yorkshire. But was on absolute flat chat coming into this one there. Dave Cram on YouTube says, nicely done, Mr. Squires. Yes, indeed. Dave Rogers says, Mally Norris is still going. Keep it up. Nigel M is cheering on Terry Crete. And I think we've cleared up the conversation that you were having on YouTube, guys, about that Astra of Steve Maxson. Remember, if you've got more hands available than I have, you can flick between the various leaderboards, and you might just have to do a bit of clever maths or a bit of assumption work in order to piece some of the championship battles together. Not ideal, I know. Phil Sandham then come here leading the Silver Star category, and I have been doing a little bit of maths in the background. I was hoping Neil Cross might have come to the fore on this, but in my head at least, they'll still leave here leading the Silver Star in that historic spec Escort from the Sunbeam VXR of Andy Davison and the Fiesta R2 of Lewis Hooper. It'll be one heck of performance from all three of them, actually. As far as the REIS Motorsport Insurance BTRDA Historic Cup, it's also a clean sweep there as well for Ward at the moment. Ben Jemison, though, coming on strong in the Chevette and taking advantage of Davison's absence from the Kielder Forest Rally, as far as the Silver Star is concerned as well. We saw the Peugeot 205 GTI of Giles Armitage and Josh Rhodes earlier, who have already taken the Rally First title, but are on for almost certainly a podium position. In the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star as well. But that title fight, we're just waiting to see what Nigel and Kaz do through this final stage of the day, but they will know coming into this that this is their championship drive. That Green Nova tops the points again if they take victory on Trackrod Rally Yorkshire. But Ashley Francis Adams and Mark Ammons have not given up in that little 1400S Micra in the Nissan Motorsport Europe colours, have they? Given us an entertaining push right to the end. But it ain't over yet. 10 miles of Langdale say so. Martin Hawkswell, Ben Welch. A pair that keep their rallying mainly to Yorkshire. Being hunted down by Sam Mason and James Seymour, who come here second in the R2 Rally Cup and will leave here, as far as the standings go, second in the R2 Rally Cup as well. The R2 Cup lost Liam Clark when he jumped into the Rally 2 Fiesta this season, but that was always going to happen. It is a graduation step on the BTRDA ladder for some. There's the man we mentioned earlier, Jack Matthewson. Tom Spencer alongside for this one. Started his rallying for the Moulton Forest Rally last year. Coming out of stage 4, I haven't got the updated results for stage 5 yet in the historics. If you're interested, I'm sure you are. Jack Matthewson was 11th. And it was only just over 11 seconds back from Ash Slights. James Lepley ahead of him in 9th. And then Rudy Lancaster, Seb Perez, Richard Jordan, Steve Bannister, Paul Thompson leading up to the podium positions. The third of which is former historic champion Ben Friend, Matthew Robinson in 2nd, but Dan Mennell is on fire today in the British Historic Rally Championship. And it's close though. If I flick to stage 5, we'll just make sure that my assumptions there are correct, although we haven't had all the times through yet from stage 5. However, we're still expecting some of them through, so no, stage 4 is as much as you're getting. Andy Davis and Tom Murphy clearing the Dolby stage before this one. They still, again, it's working on my estimations, they still will be behind Steve Ward at that, but I will double check my thinking on this. How should I do that? Shall I do that? That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Eddie Lewis, Sean Cunniff going some through here, aren't they? Sorry, I can't multitask, I'm a bloke, you know that. So I'm just sending some messages to Rally HQ just to double check a couple of my workings out before committing to them. Neil Cross, if you are tuned in, there are a couple of messages heading your way. If you've missed any of the action today, don't forget you can watch back. You go to specialstage.tv. In fact, you can while away the hours watching any of the live coverage from this season, both in the Protyre BTRDA and in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. And also catch action from the Special Stage Rally Show in association with the Mini Rally Challenge, with highlights, packages from all of those events and more. Constantine, Tony Walker. Just up the road in Colburn and Barnard Castle. Barnard Castle, an area made famous in recent times for all the wrong reasons, wasn't it? Tony Thompson, Daniel Thompson, again just up the road in Darlington. As far as forest rallying goes, it's about the most local they'll get. Ash Slights really is on a charge, looking at the historic leaderboard. Putting in a 14.11. David Henderson could only muster a 14.22 by comparison, and he's no slouch. Neither does that man, Ben Jemison. Dave Jackson alongside, despite a little off last night on the Dolby stage. And some damage on the car this morning with the underguard hanging off on the co-driver's side. Always the co-driver's side, isn't it? They are still going strong, as you can see. Again, Charlie Tuttle coming into view now. Producer Wayne giving me errant information. Charlie Tuttle's actually stopped looking at the tracker. Disappointing. Andrew Robinson, Kev Wilson, the York and Harrogate pair took a top 10 in category 3 on last year's Yorkshire, didn't they? Mike Smith says he's watching this and Hull City, both great action. What's happening in the Hull City match then, Mike, dare I ask? Not been good so far, has it? Seems to have gone back in time. But that's not my concern anymore. At least not professionally. Guy Gladwin, hello to you. Andy Pem as well. He's in mould on his own. Pemmy no mates. Oh, I'm sure there are plenty of other people in mould. Even if you can't see them. They'll be there, don't worry. Tony Riles joining us on the live coverage as well. Our BTRDA chairman is struggling with more hands available than me to work out the results because of the various split leaderboards, then we really are in trouble. Neil agreeing that we've got a bit of a daft situation here. If you're following the action, we will do our best to update you as we go, but make sure you tune into the BTRDA, the Protyre BTRDA social media at the end of the day to see how the various categories ended up and where that leaves the championship. Joe Everett and Richard Wise clearly on a charge. Do the times tell us the same story? I bet they do. Yeah, after stage 5, the Dolby stage before this one, Joe Everett, Richard Wise has moved into 3rd place in the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star category. But it is Nigel Jenkins, Kaz Jenkins, coming into this final stage, 31.3 seconds ahead of Ashley Francis Adams, Mark Ammons. Lee Ashbury, Ian Jones are up there in the REIS Motorsport Insurance Historic Cup and the Silver Star battle as well today. I'll update you on their position in just a second. Just waiting the time to drop in. Ashley Francis Adams have got their time in. A 31.3 would have been disaster striking for Nigel and Kaz Jenkins for that to have changed around in this final 10 miles through Langdale. But until that time drops in, never say never. Just waiting for confirmation that that would in fact decide the 1400 championship positions. Tony Ryle says, shame to see Mark Higgins out, came back to Cropton looking for parts off the car. I didn't realise that there'd been an off then. I've been told that he had a double puncture. Maybe that was wrong information. Maybe the double puncture was as a result of... Yeah. Alan Pete says, no football talk. No, you are right. John Ingram did that to us last time, didn't he? Hello to Simon Jones. Joining us on the coverage. Oh, joining us from home on the coverage. He's not stood next to me. I don't think anyway. Takes a quick look around, make sure Simon Jones isn't there. Not that that would have been a problem, Simon. Here we go. Is that the sight and sound of Nigel and Kaz Jenkins taking their second title in as many years here in the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star category in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series? I'm waiting for confirmation. Confirmation ultimately can only come when the crew have made it to the end of this stage, but as things stand, I'm pretty sure that stops the fight from going to the next round. Just waiting for confirmation from our BTRDA chairman, Neil Cross. He's doubling as my results PA back at HQ. Nice to see championships being decided on my home turf in Yorkshire, but it would be also nice to see some title fights going down to the final round. I think we are going to see the Silver Star going down to the final round. I'm not sure that the results from today will be decisive enough, although I am just trying to. And so is Neil, working out the differences with... well, you've got Ben Jemison and also Steve Ward, haven't you? At least on the historic leaderboard, not appearing on both. Don't worry, I won't wax lyrical again about how ridiculous the situation is in that sense, but I wonder if, along with a set of new... So Luke Watts says it will go to the final round, but it does depend on some working out with dropped scores. I don't know. I thought that they had to finish in front Ashley Francis Adams in order for it to go to the final round, but down to your knowledge of the situation, Luke, I dare say you've done a bit more working out than I have. I hope you and Sarah are enjoying your little breakaway in Switzerland.
He's in France now. He said he's in France now.
He's in France now? How do you know that? Steve Hopewell, Mike Smith. That the first of the TR7 V8s that we saw for the first time actually in Cadwell Park. All right, yeah, the first time they'd had the car was at Cadwell Park. Phil Rowland and Phil Woodcock from New Holland and Goxhill, not far from where I live now, in North Lincolnshire. A big old car to hustle around Cadwell Park. Perfect, dare I say, for a day out in Yorkshire. In these iconic Yorkshire forests. Our best wishes to Guy Gladwin, just recovering from an operation, so he's under house arrest by the boss until he's firing on all cylinders again. I do hope, Guy, that you're getting cold beers brought to you to accompany this live rally action. That will make it the perfect Saturday afternoon. Dave and Jamie Forrest. No trouble for them. No bank climbing. Alan Pete has enjoyed the coverage today. It's been good to have you out there watching with us. Hello to Connor Taylor and Dan Elmore. Producer Wayne, you know that if I comment on the stream, I don't get into the draw to win a t-shirt. Does the same apply to Dan Elmore, since he provided the t-shirts? Right, okay. I'm making these rules up as you go along. Jeremy Easton and Mike Reynolds have done their best to entertain us today, but as I keep saying, I love that Escort. A Mark 1 Escort. It's one of the best sights to see in the Yorkshire Forest, but I quite like that Datsun back out. Does he still have the Datsun? Does anybody know? It's an appeal for information if you're watching the live coverage. Does Jeremy Easton still have his Datsun 240Z? The blue and orange one that we used to enjoy the soundtrack of so much on the stages. Nicely done from Ross Jarrett and Dan Petrie. Just a wheel at the bank for good measure. And a little shake of the head from Dan inside that car. I don't know if that was a bewildered shake of the head, thinking they were heading for the scenery, or just enjoying himself inside that Mark II. Look out for a special promo video from Rally Rides, by the way, which is where Dan Petrie is an instructor. He instructed my little 7-year-old recently on the rally day we did there, and Toby, my youngest, introduces the promo video. Follow Rally Rides on Facebook. Ian Ross and his team do a great job down there. If you fancy a corporate day out, or you want to get the kids behind the wheel of a rally car with dual controls and expert instructors, then that is the place to go. Just look up Rally Rides on Facebook and look out for that promo video that we shot, because it's a lot of fun. And to see kids presenting videos on special stage, perhaps the next generation of rally media, who knows? And actually Toby got sent a Rally Rides team hoodie, so he's now officially part of the team, and I don't think he's taken it off since either. So were you following Luke Watts on the tracker then, Wayne? Have you got a tracker on him as well as the rally cars? Is that how you know? Matthew Robinson is having some issues. The brakes seized on the stop line. As you see, Douglas Menzies, Graham Menzies through here in Langdale. So, okay. So, he has made it out to the end of Dalby, but he's got seized brakes on the stop line. So Matthew Robinson, who is chasing Dan Mennell for the lead in the historics here in Trackrod Rally Yorkshire, could be out of the rally. Nick Kitchens, Steve Pugh, enjoying their day out in the Yorkshire forests. Steve in a different seat for once. Right, the maths has been done with the Bronze Star top threes as per the results. And the fight does go to the Cambrian, despite the report that I read saying that it had to be Ashley Francis Adams in front in order to keep that dream alive. Okay, so the fight will go down to the wire. Well, that's good news. Maybe not for Nigel and Kaz Jenkins, who would quite like to have taken the pressure off for the final round of the season, but good news for us anyway. A last round title fight. I'm all about that. Just awaiting confirmation of the gold and silver stars as things currently stand there. I don't want to jinx anything. Silver star's the difficult one to work out, as I mentioned before, with the ridiculous situation of split leaderboards and people appearing in 2 different rally entries but not appearing on the same leaderboards. Does it make any sense to you? I know I keep mentioning it, but does it make any sense whatsoever, Wayne? It doesn't. It really doesn't. When I was watching as a kid, I'd have the leaderboard, I'd have the entry list printed out, I'd look on CFAX for the leaderboard when I got home, in fact, or wait for Motorsport News to come out to see the final one. But yeah, you had one leaderboard, and you'd look down it to see how far up the overall leaderboard your favourite driver had got in whatever championship they were in. The magic of looking back in the archives at EWRC results and seeing, you know, how local drivers scored compared to World Championship heroes. That magic is lost when we complicate things like this. Don't know who's in charge of sorting that out. Someone needs to, please. Wow, Lewis Hooper really on a charge here. Doing his best to... Okay, Nigel and Kaz have got to the end, which took out a further 5 seconds as well through this last stage of the day. So 38 seconds, the unconfirmed provisional victory. Lewis Hooper, Rhys Edwards really on a charge there, weren't they? Reminder, they come here. Well, they come here leading the R2 Rally Cup, but if they get to the end of this stage, they will be R2 Rally Cup champions, and it's all focused on the Silver Star at that point, because we have got a 3-way, even be depending on the time it's this weekend, a 4-way fight for the Silver Star, couldn't it? We'll work that out in the fullness of time. Ken Sturdy, Tom Hutchings didn't finish the Trackrod last year. Spoke to Ken, had a nice lunch with Ken recently, and he was looking forward to getting out on the Trackrod. He loves driving that car, and he's driven a few different ones in the last few years, hasn't he? Super 1400 Swift, the unarched Mark II, and that ex-Baz Jordan Avenger, which is some bit of kit, which he saves for the asphalt. Robin Collard coming here fighting for a historic cup, the RIS Motorsport Insurance Historic Cup podium, coming here third. It's looking good so far. If you look back to the previous stage through Dolby, as I am now doing, no, of course I can't tell you because they appear on a different entry list as well, don't they? James Sauter, James Whittaker, swapping single venues. Or certainly the single venue of Brands Hatch stages for the Yorkshire Forest this weekend. To add a slightly different perspective on it, we were talking last night, and Wayne, your view is that the competitors should all just do the same mileage, especially when there's only one stage in it. You know, 13 miles through Derby the night before doesn't necessarily add a huge amount to anyone's plate. Everyone's having to get here for scrutineering on a Friday night anyway, but that would simplify things a little bit, but it would still leave us with the split leaderboards. And to clear up my thinking on that, in my own head as much as anything else, we've got people... Oh, damage. Josh Carr's Mark 1 there. Of course, it's the co-driver's side. Yes, clear up my thinking. You've got people who appear, or should appear, in a scoring points in more than one leaderboard, but they only appear on one of them. And so therefore you're assigning a pecking order to the various events.
Right, you're coming back, right, all right.
I'm going to do some thinking on this situation, and I might be even more outspoken during the subsequent weeks, because it just makes no sense to me. It just
Yeah, no worries, it's all right.
takes the edge off things if you're following the sport, doesn't it? Gavin Edwards, Karen Tomlinson. So confirmation then that the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star category will go to the final round at the Cambrian, because although it is a maximum score from Nigel and Kaz Jenkins, which tops up there 6-point scoring rounds for the season, Ashley Francis Adams and Mark Ammons with a second place here have also done the same as far as they are concerned, topping up their point scoring rounds. It will leave Nigel and Kaz advantage going into the final title decider at the Cambrian, but we will be due a battle on the stages there. And you saw just how hard Ashley was pushing in that little micro, going through this final stage of the day, leaving nothing to chance. But just outgunned today by the Jenkins bright green, high revving Nova. There's a reason that they come here as reigning champions, looking to make it 2. But nothing's done just yet. Waiting for confirmation of how the gold and silver star will look when we get to that point. Thank you, Luke Watts, who's just working out the maths for me. Should really be concentrating on his romantic break in Switzerland, but as long as Nigel and Kaz finish 5th or higher in the Bronze Star category at the Cambrian, Ash can still win, but it will still be advantage Nigel and Kaz. So it's not all in the micro driver's hands as we go to the final round, but we do have a title decider. Ian Evans, Dan Evans alongside. Busy season for them this year. Pushing on past us in both stage 3 and here in the final stage, Langdale, haven't they? Hey, I'm not sure about my claim of a sunset later now. It's got wildly cloudy in the last an hour and a half. It was pretty cloud-free earlier, and I was looking forward to that. Dad taxi tonight as well, picking my eldest up from a party, so I had some time to kill, and I was even going to take the Whitby Road to enjoy the sunset. I might still do that and just pray that it's still a sunset, and if not, just pretend that there is. It's quite nice not to have we've had a minimum 4-hour drive home from probably the last 5 or 6 rallies that we've done. As you see, Baz Wheeler into the final few miles of this rally. He and John Pickavance have been mixing their gravel and asphalt rounds this year, haven't they? They've had quite the busy calendar on their hands. Right, Luke Watts, the challenge is on. Do the maths on the Silver Star. There's a challenge for you. Navigate 2 different leaderboards and point situations. I'm only joking, stick to the romance, pal. Nicely done from Stefan Stoof and Ty Roberts. Flinging Di at the scenery there. Just debating with Wayne. We'd worked out what livery that was, hadn't we? It was Bertie Fisher's livery in the Castrol car, similar to the livery that Chris Meek brought out on the Roger Albert Clark in November last year. Getting to the top end of the entry here now. In the two-wheel drive field. It's a great looking car, that, isn't it? David Brown, Dick Wardle. They'll be hoping it gets them to the end as well. Only a few miles to go to put the demons of last year's DNF behind them here on Trackrod Rally Yorkshire. The four-wheel drive field will be through in correct seeded order as per your entry list. And I'm pleased to say they all appear on one leaderboard. So there'll be no guessing when it comes to that. I'm just working out the permutations of the championship fight, which I believe, as things stand, although I did think the same with the Bronze Star, but I wasn't factoring in the count back. Ash Slights, Dave Robson on a charge. They can smell podium, can't they? Or can they? No, the times have changed somewhat from earlier today, but they're putting some top times today. At the moment, Matthew Robinson showing is down in 5th place in the historics after starting Dolby in 2nd, the brakes seizing at the end of Dolby, so it remains to be seen whether or not we will see Matthew through this final stage of the day. As David enters. Chris leads alongside. Do you know, it seems a strange decision. It did when I first heard about it, to swap a Rally 2 Fiesta, in which, you know, he was hardly making up the numbers, was he? Taking overall victories on high-profile rallies and fighting for victories on most of the rallies that he did at a national level, to swap that for a Mark II in an extremely competitive, historic field, which we have at the moment in British Rally. Did seem like an odd decision, but I suppose it doesn't matter whether or not I can get my head around the decision. It's not my budget and it's not my rally car, but proving, I suppose, a point to himself more than anything else, that he can mix it with the top historic crews. Although that'll be a top historic position from the issues he's had today, looking at the maximum time on the leaderboard. Andy Davison, Tom Murphy then, as the Silver Star fight goes into its closing miles this season, and has delivered the competition that we've come to expect from it, hasn't it? Andy Davis and Tom Murphy already scoring 4 maximums, but they also have a DNF and a non-start in there, so they are currently 3rd place overall in Silver Star. 2 scores in hand over Steve Ward, who, as I mentioned earlier, leads both the REIS Motorsport Insurance Historic Cup and the Silver Star. And one score in hand is Andy Davison from the R2 Fiesta of Lewis Hooper. So they've still got work to do, but today I'm hoping Neil Cross can help me work out where Steve Ward fits in the maximum score today. Or even points per second would be very useful indeed for Andy Davison. There's Ben Smith, Stephen Smith. It's a strange looking mark on Escort, isn't it? If the entry list is to be believed. Be interesting to see what Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence can make of these last two stages. Times coming through now for the four-wheel drives. In Dolby, it's Paul Thompson, Josh Davison. Another crew who will be looking for a finish to cancel out that DNF from last year's Trackrod Rally Yorkshire. James Lepley, Simon Jones alongside. Coming into this stage in 10th position. Ian Evans behind. A good 21 seconds behind as well, so fairly safe. Not going to catch Rudy Lancaster in 9th either. Decent result, a top 10 for Lepley, in the historics that is. So we have our top four-wheel drive times through the Dolby stage as we await the four-wheel drives here who will be through after a short gap. We'll keep the show running. Matthew Hurst, Declan Deer then have really got the hammer down this afternoon. 35.7 seconds ahead of Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh. As you see, an awesome sounding escort of Simon Webster and Jez Rogers. Not committing to the final permutations for the Gold Star yet, but I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure the Gold Star is looking very good for Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh. Because looking at the stage times for Dolby, Russ Thompson has slipped back again to 4th behind Daniel Sigurdsson and Asta Sigurdardottir. It's not a case of non-registered crews being the fly in the ointment. These are registered BTRDA crews in between Russ Thompson and Stephen Link. So Thompson desperately needs to get that 10.2 seconds back from the Icelandic pair in the Polo R5. I'm not sure that he's going to be able to do that, but if anyone can, Russ will do it. He'll give it a big push. Richard Hill, Patrick Cooper, sorry. Went past then, didn't they? And in suitable fashion as well. Another pair switching, not quite from Rally 2 to a Mark 2, but from the B13 to the Mark 2, switching from the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series to that historic car. And they've acclimatised well. So as things stand, the Gold Star would be so Rob Wright, Mark Fisher know what it's like to come into a final round fighting for the Silver Star title. They've done it and come out on top in the past. Out here on the local event. This time out, just enjoying these Yorkshire stages. Richard Jordan and Sam Collis, Sam with his arm out of the window, enjoying himself in that car prep Mark II. And right, he should as well. In the past, it would always be Sam Collis in with Matthew Robinson, wouldn't it? It seems strange seeing the pair out and not in the same car. Richard Jordan's regular co-driver James Grattan-Smith has found himself a taste for driving again, hasn't he? So might explain the change around there. The sun just starting to go down, and the afternoon here in Yorkshire a little bit chillier than we had earlier, but still hardly anything to complain about. I think we can all agree the 6 stages that made up this year's Trackrod Rally Yorkshire have done us Yorkshire folk proud. 57.9, shy of 58 miles, the total mileage for those who did last night's 13-miler through Dolby. 44.69 miles, the standard event mileage for anybody who did the national rally today. Ben Friend, Cliffy Simmons battling here for a top 10 in category 3 in the BHRC. So the Gold Star leaderboard then, as we await the four-wheel drives through into this final Langdale stage. Still full four-wheel drive entry to go here, plenty of action to take you through to Saturday tea time. Matthew Hurst, Declan Deer lead the way. That Delta Auto Salvage Skoda Fabia Rally 2 is suiting them down to the ground. 35.7 seconds ahead of our reigning champions, soon surely to be crowned champions yet again, and perhaps Hurst and Deer making a point. The point being what could have been as Dan Mennell and John Roberts head past us onto surely what will be a victory for them. And a long overdue and well-deserved one as well in the BHRC here. Mind you, there were only 2.1 seconds in it between them and Ben Friend coming in here, and then only 4 seconds back to Richard Hill in third. Seb Perez has come on strong in the last couple of stages, 6.7 behind in the Porsche. And Matthew Robinson, who we're yet to see through. I haven't looked at the tracker to see if he's on the tracker, but brake seized at the end of the Dolby stop line, 13.7 back. There it is, the Amigos Porsche. The Seb Perez, the man who is so close to clinching his first British Historic Rally Championship title. It will be a very popular victory if he takes that title in so many ways. What a battle it's been between him and Mark Higgins. I'm sorry, I'm not up to date on the permutations actually between the two, but I do think that this, if not making it impossible, makes it very difficult for Higgins to come back. But there are 2 more point scoring rounds left, so perhaps not. Perez was ahead though. No, it does look like it is game over for Matthew Robinson. But a word for Mark Higgins, who hadn't even driven a rear-wheel drive car on asphalt until this year. And took a year out to be James Bond in 2023 and came out here and I mean, he's leading the FIA class in the BHRC coming into this round. I think it's BHRC to work that one out, and we'll join them for coverage of the Anglo-Caledonian when everything will become clear, and hopefully we'll have a championship battle to bring you there in a few weeks' time. Just round 9, which is a double point scoring round, as I say, Anglo-Caledonian to go. So that then rounds off the 2-wheel drive field here, as Dan Mennell surely goes through to score a maximum points finish in the British Historic Rally Championship. Seb Perez has done his championship title charge, no harm whatsoever today. Mark Higgins, Carl Williamson left by the side of the road with the damaged TR7 V8. 2 punctures, unsure whether there was accident damage as well, but it'll all come out in the wash. We await our 4-wheel drive field through this final 10, just over 10 stage miles of Langdale then. And are we going to be crowning a 3-time Protyre BTRDA Gold Start champion? Becky Slights has enjoyed that one. The Slights girls shouting, "Go Ash Slights." Oh, Matthew Smith, we did wonder what had happened. He answered the question himself. It was a head gasket issue. He was on a charge, wasn't he, in that Proton? A great first stage time, as Stu Chambers points out. So confirmation then that at the end of that, we're still awaiting. It's very difficult to work out the silver, as I mentioned before, with the various leaderboards, but we've got our best people on it, shall we say. Ian Cox cheering on Seb Perez. He certainly came on strong at the end there, didn't he? And I suppose a bit of damage limitation after dropping down the order a little earlier in the day, but as far as the championship is concerned, it's still a Porsche on top. And we have our four-wheel drives into this final 10 miles of Langdale here on Trackrod Rally Yorkshire. Round 7, the penultimate round of the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series. Here we go then. Is this going to be a champion's drive for Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh? If it stays as it looks now, it would only be a disaster for Elliot Payne that would change that around. After stage 5 through Dalby, Matthew Hurst, Declan Deere lead the way in terms of the rally, 35.7 ahead in the Skoda. Elliot Payne, Patrick Walsh, crucially for them, in second place, ahead of Russ Thompson and Stephen Link, who have not only a big gap between them and Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh, they also have a Volkswagen Polo R5 in the shape of Daniel Sigurdsson and Asta Sigurdottir, who have certainly put a spanner in the works in that championship fight today. But would it have made a difference? I don't think it would, because they're still behind, crucially. Russ Thompson, Stephen Link, the only B13 crew, although Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence are ahead in the points table at the moment in B13 and second overall in the Protyre BTRDA Gold Star Championship. It's only Russ Thompson and Stephen Link that can take the title with drop scores taken into account. But although it remains mathematically possible going into the final 10 stage miles of Trackrod Rally Yorkshire, Elliot Payne, Patrick Walsh would come out here provisionally a 3-time champion for Elliot. Patrick taking his first title alongside Elliot. But he's no stranger to an overall championship as Patrick Walsh. Mentioned earlier that Elliot's previous 2 championship years, particularly last year, were far more clinical. Still a bit of bad luck and jeopardy for Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere playing into the mix at times, but this year Elliot hasn't had it all his own way. And had it not been for those retirements and reliability issues for Hurst and Deere in the Fiesta R5, having to hire cars and engines and all sorts, and ultimately giving it up as a bad job and getting a Skoda instead, would we be talking about a 3-way title fight, and a title fight that went down to the final round? Quite possibly. Roy Huller asking where car 178 is. Tony Jardine, well, he appears on the historic results, if you want to check those. Down in 58th overall in the historic cruise, I believe, at this stage. But there is the man who, at the end of the next few miles, could be crowned Protyre BTRDA Gold Star champion. Elliot Payne, Patrick Walsh alongside. It's been a champion's drive today. Hasn't quite had the measure of the Skoda Rally 2 pair up ahead, which probably tells its own story. But the mission brief today was to keep Russ Thompson and Stephen Link in the Mitsubishi Evo 9, which really on paper has no right to be fighting up there, does it? But he and Patrick Naylor have been putting in storming performances once again here. 4th and 7th on the overall leaderboard, respectively. A word for Alex Vassallo, though, who, although not registered for championship points, with Callum Leung alongside, is just behind. Fair way behind, but just behind on the results. Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence in the GC8 Impreza. There is the pair who surely will claim overall victory today on Trackrod Rally Yorkshire. And that Delta Auto Salvage Skoda Fabia Rally 2. Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere. An impeccable performance from them today. Finally a chance to see what they can do when everything comes together. It's all right having the pace. It's all right having the ability to manage the drive. It's all right having a reliable car, but if you don't have all 3 of those things, you're never going to win rallies. You're never going to win a championship. Here's possibly a glimpse into what could have been had the pair had all three of those things bolted together for this championship campaign this season. As it stands, Elliot Payne, Patrick Walsh approach the finish, and there'll be nothing more that Russ Thompson and Stephen Link can do. At that point. You know, we are watching history being made here on these stages. Sounds very dramatic to say it, but it's been dramatic to tell the story. A three-time champion. We crowned a two-time asphalt champion this year in the shape of Callum Black, a three-time asphalt co-drivers champion in Jack Morton. Here in the Protyre BTRDA, the gravel sister series. We are just a breath or two away from seeing Elliot Payne do the treble in a championship that he and his family have put so much into. Charlie Payne, Carl Williamson were BTRDA Gold Star champions in 2016. Charlie's been ill recently. We hope, I've heard he's on the road to recovery, but we do wish him all the best. But no doubt a very proud moment for Charlie and the rest of the family watching Elliot get that Amigos Tequila beer sponsored Fiesta. And indeed, it's a good year for Amigos, isn't it? Sponsoring what looks like being the Gold Star Championship winning car and what could well be the British Historic Rally Championship winning car this year as well. Who could they sponsor in the Welsh Championship to make it a treble, I wonder? Sure, there'd be quite a few takers, wouldn't there? Joe Cunningham and Josh Beer gave us a good old battle today, but they're not showing on the results from Dolby, oddly enough. That, I'm sure, is a quirk of the result system, because you saw that Proctor's coach's car was clear as day there. Here we go then, just awaiting the final times in for this final stage. The result system just teasing me as it has at points this season. A valiant performance, and at times a supremely impressive display as well this season from Russ Thompson and Stephen Link. Proof at every touch point that going sideways can indeed be fast. Gave it their all. Circumstances coming into this weekend and the action on the stages. It almost belies the specs of these cars that a B13 Evo should even be fighting for the title, doesn't it, against current WRC machinery. So let's just reflect on that at the same time as understanding what we've seen from Russ Thompson and Stephen Link this year. Still waiting the times in the finish, and of course Elliot and Patrick still have to get to the end of Langdale. You wouldn't want to be the rally presenter who called it just before the car broke down on the finish line, would you? So that is left, but I think it does go down to the final round. I think Steve Ward is still ahead, but appearing on a different leaderboard. Just got to do some maths there. Looks good for Andy Davison, though, coming here third, taking maximum points. Will do his campaign. World of good. Nigel and Kaz Jenkins, though, take a maximum score in the Bronze Star, meaning they take the fight down to the wire. Ashley Francis Adams, Mark Ammons gave it their all here in Yorkshire, the results of which we'll see play out at the final round on the 28th of October in Llandudno. From one seaside town here in Yorkshire, Filey, that hosted the penultimate round, to the seaside town that has become the spiritual home of the final round here in the BTRDA Rally Championship over the years, although it has also done a marvellous job of being an opening round from time to time. The Cambrian will see the Bronze Star category title fight played out. Probably Silver Star as well, awaiting confirmation of that as we wait for confirmation that our reigning champions, Elliot Payne, Patrick Walsh, have reached the finish line. Trevor Gamble, Phil Kenny, giving it a big go today, mixing it with our championship crews. No mean feat. These guys are doing battle week in, week out. Pushing each other on and on, the pace going up, and the risks taken getting ever greater. It's been a classic year here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series. Of course, I'm going to say that, but perhaps I've got as much right as anybody, given that I've been telling the story of it. What a story it has been to tell. One of the stories that we'll surely reflect on is that pair are back in the game. Pat Naylor, Ian Lawrence took some time out, took their time to ease back in. But they come here, leading the B13, second overall in the Gold Star. This was the only rally they did last season. Taking them a bit of time, but they are back up to speed in B13 and giving Russ Thompson a run for his money, but with dropped scores taken into account, Russ has the edge, and those championship positions at the moment don't necessarily, well, they don't reflect the state of play at all. If you're just tuning in, you are, I'm pretty confident, about to see a three-time Gold Star champion here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series crowned. Elliot Payne, Patrick Walsh just waiting for their time to arrive on the results sheet as they get to the finish. Russ Thompson, Stephen Link needed to finish ahead to keep the fight alive. It just wasn't their day today to do that, although they've given it a big old fight, and their position on the leaderboard coming into this stage on any other day would be something we'd be talking about as quite remarkable. But given what we know about that crew and given what we know about this title fight, we were perhaps expecting something even more remarkable to come out of today. At least for Russ and Stephen. Refreshing the times on the results, which no doubt you are as well. Yeah, Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson were going well as Trevor and Phil, weren't they? Scrapman Brown just confirming his thoughts on that. So it was a 2.1 second lead, wasn't it, that Dan Mennell had over Ben Friend going into this final stage. Did I count my chickens too early? Andy Cook thinks I did. Yeah, the times haven't come through for me actually on the results.djames.org.uk link. It was tight between Mennell and Ben Friend going into the finish. I'm hearing that Ben Friend has actually stolen victory at the end of the day from Dan Mennell. There's Alex Vassallo in that Group A spec GC8 Impreza. It looks the business, it looks the part, it sounds the part as well, doesn't it? Whether my results out here in the forest are slower to load, I don't know, but at the moment, no confirmation of the historics. And no confirmation either of the Gold Star. Look at that from Liam Clark and Emily Easton Page. A nice fistful of opposite lock into the final few miles of Langdale. For another driver who's impressed us with his performances this year. He and Emily Easton Page seem to have headed off inside the car. And Liam Clark's switch from R2 to Rally 2 is complete. I remember saying to him at the awards do at the beginning of the year at Drayton Manor, "You're getting a Rally 2? That's a hell of a step up." And he just nodded at me and gave me a, "I know, look." But he's proven he's up to the job, hasn't he? Will we see another championship protagonist going into 2025? Could be an interesting season, couldn't it? Next season. Your results not updating like mine. I haven't got confirmation on the results in front of me, at least. I am hearing from some of you that Ben Friend has overtaken Dan Mennell in this last stage, but for the historics, I haven't got stage times for you to be able to see that unless you're watching something else and getting the stage times direct from the drivers, if you're watching the BHRC stream from the stage end, perhaps. But madly refreshing the results page, hoping that we're going to see the Gold Star times drop in at the end of this 6th stage through Langdale. If you have just tuned in and you're thinking, "Oh God, I missed it," it's fine. You can rewind if you're watching on YouTube or at specialstage.tv, or if you're watching on Facebook, just wait till the end and you can watch the action back. And there has been some great action today. A couple of great spots for you. It's not often that a square right or a square left. And we've had one square left and 2 square rights for you today. It's not often that they can deliver such action, but they have here. These typically fast Yorkshire stages. Plenty of bravery on display on what has been a title deciding day in North Yorkshire, on stages which have decided titles and have seen legends before us. Not sure who's coming into view now, but they are absolutely flat chat. Oh, there we go. Dan Hurst in the R5. They were flat chat through there as well. Keeping the throttle absolutely pinned on the limiter. Coming over the slight crest at the top. I couldn't quite see who it was, just saw the spoiler. Ducking between the undergrowth at the top of the shot. You can't see that. Giving it a big push as we go into the final few miles of the stage. Still no results showing. Yeah, so Dan Mennell had a penalty applied after I looked at the historic results earlier, hadn't he? Leaving Ben Friend out in the lead by 2.1 seconds to Richard Hill and Patrick Cooper. Puts Dan Mennell out of the top 10. That's coming into this stage. We don't have the time for stage 6 yet for either the leading historics or indeed our leading four-wheel drive crews. But we have at least one title deciding fight to play out on the stages in North Wales next time out. And that is for the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star category. The RAIS Motorsport Insurance Historic Cup will also play out there. And I think, although the maths is yet to be done, is a bit tricky to do because of the split leaderboards, I think we'll have a Silver Star battle unfolding on those stages as well. So there will be plenty to watch, plenty to take to the final round of this, what has been a pretty vintage year for the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series. As we await our next crew on the stage, we'll bring you every single crew through the entry on both live shows this afternoon. Something that we're always quite determined to do, so we're quite pleased we managed to piece it together today, even though we only just managed to make it work with the gap we had in the middle and the almost hour-long drive between Gale Rig and Langdale. Hello to you if you're still watching at home. If you haven't yet dropped a message or a comment onto wherever you're watching, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube or at specialstage.tv, do it, because then we'll enter you in the draw to win one of these Lombard RAC Rally style Rally TV t-shirts that we've got for you from Rallying Is Life. Our official merchandise partner for this year. What is it about French rally cars? 208s, DS3R5s, that B14 car of Scott Renshaw, Terry Wilson sounds the business, doesn't it? He'll be a top 10 finisher in B14 in the BTRDA this year, despite a lack of rounds making up the point scoring tallies. Still no results. Confirming the gold start. Times must be coming through from the final time control, not from the stage end. Which is why we'll be waiting, no doubt, for the results to come through. We are just moments away though, surely, because we know that Elliot Payne has cleared the stage. We know that Russ Thompson has as well. But we know the order in which they've done so. and that's decisive in itself. It's a great looking car, that, isn't it? Alan Dixon, Martin Forrest, first time back in a car and on these stages since 2020 for the pair. Yeah, all we're waiting for is the final confirmation because the order of things and the fact that crews have finished the stage pretty much tells us all we need to know. But let's not go final or confirm anything, provisional or not, until we've seen it in black and white. I both love and hate the moment refreshing the results screen. It's exciting. You also just want to know. Steve Petch, John Richardson. Only the odd rally for them these days, mostly the home ones, but he did do the border counties last year, didn't he? Last time the Trackrod was a DNF, chalked up in 2022. We're back here and heading towards the finish in the Skoda Fabia that we saw Stephen Petch driving most recently. Some ominous looking clouds in the distance now as well. Perhaps that sunset display I was talking about will get rained off as we go through the final part of the day. Either way, great to be rallying in Yorkshire. Colin Minton, Adam Westerby will throw it into this square in the Ignition Motorsport Tuts Clump proper cider sponsored Fiesta R5. Have they done enough to catch Sigurdsson for fourth? And they're being caught on the stage. How good does that look? Group A is back. There's Jeff Smith and Joe Dunn to prove it in the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 6. I think Colin Minton will have improved on one of his scores on that. Whether it's enough to overhaul Sigurdsson and Sigurdottir in the polo, I'm not sure. Probably not with their, what will, I think, be a podium score here. And times finally drop in. Yeah, Scatman Brown says Steve Petch, a stalwart of rallying. Certainly is, and the SG Petch name is synonymous with rallying, particularly in these parts. Adorns many a rally car and many a rally official's vehicle, doesn't it? And rally sponsorship works. I bought a car from SG Petch, purely on the basis of knowing them through rallying previously. Drive a Puma ST now purely on the basis of the Puma's exploits in the World Rally Championship. So don't let anybody tell you that the age of win on Sunday, buy on Monday is gone, because it hasn't. Although the Puma not doing that much winning at the moment, is it? Martin's Sesk, though, is exciting. Enjoying watching, hearing that all internal combustion engined Puma. That's how it should be as well. Roger Kilty, Lynette Banks. Shouldn't say things like that, should I? Way too controversial for a national rally live stream. Come on, results. Tell us what we want to know. Have we got a provisional 3-time Gold Star champion here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series? We are just moments away from that confirmation that we're looking for, but I'm fairly confident. Hello to Ian Francis. Adam Griffin 4 as well. George Jennings says, give Phil James a shout out if he's in front of you. I can see him up there. He's in front of me, but he's a little bit far for me to give him a shout out. If I give him a shout out, everyone will look at me. It'd be really awkward. And producer Wayne is in between me and Phil James, so he'll feel even more awkward, and he will not thank me for that. He's looking at me, he's just saying, no, don't. Another stalwart of rallying. Rally media, at least. And there's Matthew Jackson. He's tuned in as well. Ian Cox. Rob Huller. That's on Facebook. I'm joining you guys on the YouTube and specialstage.tv live stream as well. All bonus. Glenn Mercer. And that great looking Fiesta R5. Ah, okay, Luke Watts. I see where you got the France thing from now, producer Wayne. On the YouTube chat. How are you on both YouTube and Facebook? I'm struggling to multitask, and I've not got a romantic weekend in France and Switzerland to concentrate on. Okay, Andy Cook, where are you getting your historic results, or are you at the finish perhaps? Perez second, Menel third. It's not what my results is telling me. Well, not based on the results from 5 anyway, because Menel had that big penalty. Has it maybe been scrubbed? Was it a mistake, I wonder? I want your results service, Andy. It's telling you more than mine is. Still plenty of hardy spectators here in the final stage of the day, enjoying the last bit of action, including a number of kids as well, which I think you can probably hear, which is lovely to hear, isn't it? Little voices by the side of the rally stage. That was all of us once, remember that? Okay, so Andy's watching the BHRC end of stage, so you're getting the times directly from that. So, Perez second, Ben Friend takes the win. Perez does take the second place points today, which will strengthen his championship campaign going into the final 2-point scoring rounds, made up by the Anglo-Caledonian Rally in November. And Dan Menel, after a very impressive battle out there, takes the final podium position, according to Andy Cook, who is watching the BHRC live update from the stage end. We'll go with it until I've got anything different. Andy? But I am still waiting for the four-wheel drives to drop through on the results so I can confirm Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh is 3-time champions here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series. What an accomplishment that'll be. Just seemed to come from nowhere, didn't he, really, Elliot? Like a dad's and lad's day out rallying, wasn't it, for a while? And then Elliot started to get the legs on his old man, and I'm not sure they really spent much time together on a weekend after that. Charlie was the first to admit that it was all about playing the cars up the hill in front of the castle. Stood with Charlie Payne, who had stepped out of the car that weekend to give Elliot his car because Elliot's car was ready for, it had been a Jim Clark perhaps, it was ready for an asphalt round anyway. And Charlie was clearly very proud of what Elliot was accomplishing, and that being his first season of fighting for the Gold Star Championship as well. We all know what happened after that. Not only that year, but the year after as well. A few more cars to go, but we will stay till the end and bring you coverage of every car on the entry, including the Land Rovers, because there's nothing worse sometimes tuning in to watch someone you're rooting for down the lower end of the entry list, and the live stream packs up before they get here. Sometimes we have to for time restraints, other restrictions, or just general logistics, but today we planned it very intricately to make sure we could get you 2 full stages of action. We could do it differently. We could hop from stage to stage and bring you the top 10, top 20, but that's not our style. Plus, look at some of the action we've had. Some of the action has been at the lower end of both the 2-wheel drive and the 4-wheel drive entry, hasn't it? Oh look, a rally car. Alien Forest, Paul Gribben joining us after a couple of years on Scottish events here in Yorkshire for Trackrod Rally Yorkshire. As I optimistically refresh the results page, still nothing through. Hello to Neil Henderson. Not sure if you said you were recovering from an operation or preparing for one, Neil, but either way, best wishes from myself and the rest of the team. Thanks for your nerdy rally factoids that you send me during events. I do enjoy them, and they do help paint pictures of the stories I'm telling from time to time. It's good that we can use the technology at our fingertips to be able to have little rally nerd sessions week in, week out, isn't it? Have you got a list of winners compiled of the Rally TV t-shirts, Wayne? We could do with them all sending us a picture, couldn't we? So we can do a compilation at the end of the year. If you have won one of the Rally TV t-shirts so far, please do send us a picture. If you message it to the special stage page or send it to my Facebook page, whichever, we will compile all of the winners. That would be quite a fun thing to do at the end of the season. Tell you what, Dan couldn't have picked a worse, or some of the times are coming in now, Dan couldn't have picked a worse year to do it, could he? It's been our busiest year of live coverage in our entire 15 years of doing this. And he picked this year to invest in the prize fund. Dan from Rallying His Life, that is. I mentioned earlier, by the way, if you we do get asked all the time, where do you get your special stage hats? Where do you get your special stage hoodies, jackets? Rallying His Life. Search them up on Facebook. There's a link to the store on there, and it's great gear. I am biased, but I'm also right. That's how it goes. Joyce Scott with local man Andy Walshaw alongside, normally Harry Walshaw. We see out co-driving these days. Andy Dad was out this weekend in that Evo 9 with George. The anti-lag is ferocious on that thing. I can hear it going right off into the distance. I love how you guys have your own conversations under the live stream. Can't remember what rally it was we were looking at the YouTube. There was a delay in the stage start time, but the YouTube page obviously goes live at the scheduled time and just goes up with the holding screen. And there was a debate raging in the comments underneath. I can't remember what it was about now. Historic rallying and the introduction of Group A, I think, 4-wheel drives. But the debate was raging sort of 25 minutes before the cars even started the stage. As you see, Marcus Tomlinson, Alan Ward, local pair, literally on their doorstep. Pickering and Kirby Moorside, respectively, tend to come out and do the East Riding stages. And this year, adding the Trackrod to the roster. Producer Wayne doing the universal signal for there is rain coming down. Looks like he's signalling the aliens. Yeah, it was amazing that we watched this whole debate raging long before we'd gone live. Like a 360-degree rally conversation. Scrapman Brown says George Scott, the rallying butcher. I'm not sure why that's so funny. I mean, we've got rallying farmers, we've got rallying carpenters. What else can you think of? Salvage men. What's Elliot? He's a milker. Yeah, milkman, isn't he? Yeah, rallying milkman. Payne Dairies, of course. Luke Watts is getting all demanding now. By his maths, his mum, remember he is Mummy's little squirt. His mum is champion co-driver in the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star. He's insisted I message Neil Cross on WhatsApp to confirm. Look, it looks like you've really done your maths on this, Luke, so provisionally let's go with that. And, you know, you can be Mummy's little soldier. If you're not right, then it just adds to the banter, doesn't it, for the final round. But yeah, it does look like from that maths that Kaz Jenkins has taken the co-drivers championship because Mark Ammons is on 137 points. Could only get to 167. So regardless of what happens next time out, yeah, Kaz will be co-drivers champion in the Bronze Star. That is worth celebrating, isn't it? Thank you for letting me know that, Luke. Neil Henderson sending me a picture of his surgery that will stay with me for some time. That looks like a nasty situation, Neil. I'm glad you're on the road to recovery and that we can bring you some live rallying, though. George Martin saying, come on, the wolf pack. Gusty can't be out there. Yeah, and Onion Elliott says they're that grand old flag called Bessie, they're referring to the Doug Riddle Scottish flag ahead of us on the stage. Can we think of any funnier non-rally careers from our rally drivers than the milkman? That's what I'm going to call Elliot Payne from now on. Right, four-wheel drive times are starting to come through. Liam Clark, Emily Easton Page have dropped into my results. There we go. Confirmation, provisional at least, that Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere have taken victory here. 38.9 seconds over Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh. Perhaps just a glimpse at what we might have had if they'd got that Skoda or hooked up some reliability on the Fiesta R5 a little sooner in the season, but definitely, surely a glimpse of what we'll see going into next season. Elliot Payne, Patrick Walsh then. They've done it. 49 seconds, just under. Ahead of Russ Thompson and Stephen Link. The dream is over for another year for Russ Thompson to be the first B13 driver since Sean Gardner in 2012 to take the Gold Star Championship. It's a three-time title celebration for the Amigos Tequila Beer Fiesta Rally 2 driver, the milkman, Elliot Payne. Congratulations to Elliot and Patrick. What a way to do it as well. A big fight today. A top six for Liam Clark and Emily Easton Page. Stephen Petch ahead of them. Good result for him on his home stages is that pace that took him to the championship here in the Gold Star back. Will we see another championship campaign from the local man? Be good, wouldn't it? But Liam Clark will take top 5 in BTRDA. Cruise there. Phil and Simon Pickard, despite throwing the car in a ditch on Gail Rigg earlier on stage 3, literally well, actually 2 ditches, and the second one was a little dramatic, more dramatic than the first. Take a 7th place overall, or they're not registered for points. Joe Cunningham, Josh Beer, 8th place overall. Daniel Hyans, Rob Fagg in 9th. Alistair Ginley, Craig Thorley in 10th. So the back end of the top 10, full of non-championship registered local crews, all having a good run on their local rally. Pat Naylor, though, Ian Lawrence coming 11th overall, but without the non-championship registered crews, that puts them in a top 6 position in the championship crews today. But there we have it, confirmation that although he did all that he can, Russ Thompson misses out on the Gold Star title this season in that B13 Evo. But what a heroic performance we've seen from him this season. Elliot Payne, the milkman, takes his 3rd Gold Star title this year. Patrick Walsh alongside, but I'm sure Tom Woodburn will be watching, and there'll be a message of congratulations to the driver that he sat with to the title in 2023. There'll be celebrations at the finish, and hopefully Charlie Payne is there at the finish with the rest of the family to celebrate what'll be a very well-deserved title. It is provisional at this stage, but the news is, from here in the final stage of Trackrod Rally Yorkshire, the Langdale stage, Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh are our Protyre BTRDA Gold Star champions for 2024. Phil James putting himself right in the firing line there on the inside of the corner. Just in front of that Land Rover, that would have been a twitchy moment. Confirmation as well that the Silver Star fight will go on to the final round. And confirmation that the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star category will also go to the final round at the Cambrian in Llandudno next time out at the end of October. But that is it from the penultimate round of the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series. 6 stages, 5 for the BTRDA crews here on Trackrod Rally Yorkshire. This is a rally that always throws up a bit of action, a bit of drama and some intrigue, and it's done all 3 of those things. But what it's also done is crown our 2024 Protyre BTRDA Gold Star champion. Congratulations to Elliot Payne, Patrick Walsh, but also congratulations to Matt Hurst and Declan Deer on today's rally win. They have definitely proved a point, and I've got a feeling they came here looking to do just that on Matthew's home event. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time out for the Cambrian, but we've got a few more events in the meantime for you to enjoy live here on Special Stage.